and welcome to Rulebreaker. Today we're going to take a look at how to play as the Federation of Sol in Twilight Imperium 4th edition. So, humans, us, the bad guys of space. The humans are a very ground combat and infantry heavy race to play as. You're going to be stockpiling piles and piles and piles of troops on planets and taking over planets and keeping them held. Landlocking all of your dudes down there and using that as your sort of base strategy most of the time in this game. Sol are quite an aggressive race. They like to conquer. That is their main characteristic. So let's take a look at what you get at the start of the game. Down here you have your starting technology, which is going to be Neural Motivator and Anti-Mass Deflectors. Neural Motivator is quite simple. It's during the status phase, draw 2 action cards instead of 1. Pretty good. Action cards are great. And Anti-Mass Deflectors, your ships can move into and through asteroid fields. When other players' units use Space Cannon against your units, apply a -1 to the result of each die roll. So normally you can't go through asteroid fields, you can do that at the start. That's this type of tile in the game. Alright, you don't need to worry too much about that. Your units at the start of the game, not that many flashy things. You get 2 carriers, which is really good for expansion and conquering planets very early. You're going to get 1 destroyer, which is one of the more basic combat units. You're going to get 3 fighters. These are the tiny little piece of plastic here. These are mainly for soaking up hits. You're going to get 5 infantry, which are these flags here, these units here. These are the ones that are going to let you conquer planets. You're going to put these down on the planets and take them. And just like everybody else, you're going to get a space dock, which allows you to build more stuff. Quite a straightforward setup with stuff for you. This is your home system here, Jord. I'm not sure why it's not Sol or, you know, where we live, but it's Jord in the game anyway. It's a 4-2 planet, so 4 resources and 2 influence. This is a great starting planet. When you put your space dock down here, it means that you can build 4 + 2 units each round there, which is 6. That's 6 pieces of plastic. That's pretty good, especially when a lot of your opponents are not going to have nearly that much in the game. The fact that you start out with 2 carriers and a whole bunch of infantry units means that you're already quite primed to conquer planets. So if you get some planets in your hand at the start when making the galaxy, if that's the way you're playing, try and put them as close to yourself as possible to get as many resources as early as you can, and just get this this whole thing going. Loads of these guys and carriers and stuff to transport them around. Something to note as well is that you're not going to be using the infantry technology card as Sol. They have their own equivalent, which is called Spec Ops. So you're not going to be using this card at all if you have it in your technology deck. You can ignore it right now. Okay, let's take a look at the front of your race sheet here. You've got all your units on this area here, but we're going to focus on the special abilities for the moment. Your first one is Orbital Drop. It's an action, so you can do this as an action like the way you would activate a system or like you would play an action card. It's in that same window. It's basically your turn to do this thing. And what it is spend 1 token from your strategy pool to place 2 infantry from your reinforcements on 1 planet you control. Let's take a look at that. Alright, let's take a look at this situation here. You've conquered this planet already, probably in a previous turn, and you want to use Orbital Drop. Very simple. You take 1 token from strategy allocation, and then it's gone. And then you put 2 infantry on a planet you control. In the case of this system, Sakulag or Lazar would get 2 guys. So Lazar, in this example here, you can't split them across 2 different planets. They have to be on the same planet. Alright. Sol's other ability is Versatile, which is when you gain command tokens during the status phase, gain 1 additional command token. So if you're getting like 2 normally, then you would get 3. Very simple. And you can put them anywhere just like you normally would. And yeah, that's all pretty straightforward with their abilities. Sol also have 4 commodities, which is not bad at all. Actually, it's one of the higher amounts you can get. During the trade phase, if you fill these up, you're going to have 4 here. It's going to make you a relatively attractive trade partner for people. And then when you're trading, you're going to flip these over and give them out to other people and get some in return. So 4, pretty good. They also have Genesis, which is their flagship. Let's take a closer look at that. That's this one here. This is your flagship. Pretty cool unit. Genesis, which has the ability at the end of the status phase, place 1 infantry from your reinforcements in this system's space area. So if you've got a system where your flagship is, you're just going to be able to put a space in the space area. You're going to be able to put an infantry. They're not going to go onto the planet. They're going to be part of the flagship's like capacity. So let's take another look at all of its stuff. It's cost 8, which is pretty standard. Hits twice on a 5, which is really good. Nice low number to hit on your dice. Has only a move of 1, but it has a capacity of 12. That means you can carry 12 infantry or 12 fighters or a combination of the two at once, which is a monstrous amount of stuff for your invasion forces to conquer planets with. Just like everybody else, Sol has their own promissory note, which you can give to other players as a kind of a bargaining chip to make friends. Theirs is military support, so when you give this to somebody, they can use this. And what it says is, at the start of the Sol player's turn, remove 1 token from the Sol player's strategy pool. If able, return it to his reinforcements. Then you may place 2 infantry from your reinforcements on any planet you control, then return this card to the Sol player. So it hurts you in that you lose a strategy token, so you're probably always going to want to have an extra one if you're handing this card out. It is pretty attractive to players. Getting that at 2 infantry isn't that big of a deal. It's more that they can stop you from doing something like technology, or something, one of the secondary abilities on one of the really good strategy cards. And Sol has 2 racial techs just like everybody else, but unusually they're both unit upgrades. They're the Advanced Carrier 2 and the Spec Ops 2. Let's take a closer look at them. Alright, so Advanced Carrier 2 and Spec Ops 2, I'm just going to compare them with their standard versions. So you've got your Advanced Carrier 1 and against your Advanced Carrier 2. As you can see, they cost the same. They both cost 3. They both still have a 9 combat. Where Advanced Carrier 2 really excels is with its 2 move over the 1 move and having a capacity of 8, which is really crazy. It's really good. Not quite as good as the flagship, but for a much lower cost. And you can build multiple of them, meaning you've got this convoy of crazy powerful, souped up Spec Ops dudes ready to take over planets. Speaking of which, let's compare the Spec Ops 1 with the Spec Ops 2. So, as I said earlier, the Sol player doesn't use infantry, they use these Spec Ops guys. They start off quite similar, but they upgrade to Spec Ops 2, which is really powerful. So Spec Ops 2, they still have the 1 cost for 2 units. They hit on a 6, which is really good, and they have the special ability, after this unit is destroyed, roll 1 die. If the result is 5 or greater, place the unit on this card, like this. At the start of your next turn, place each unit that is on this card on a planet you control in your home system. So they're like zombies, they regenerate. And they have to go to your home system, they can't go anywhere. And there is only 1 planet in your home system, so it's going to be Jord. This can be really disheartening for other players when you unlock this. They're already struggling to kill as many of your ground forces as possible, and if you get the option to, if you get a 5 or greater on the die, to be able to regenerate them back at home where they're able to move out again, that's really horrible to play against. And I would recommend going for this technology upgrade. It does cost 2 green. You're probably going to want to go a little bit green anyway to get extra strategy tokens and stuff. So so stick this one out, preferably as early as possible to get the most use out of it. And that is the Federation of Sol in a nutshell. They're not overly complicated to play. They don't have any crazy abilities. A lot of the time they involve their Spec Ops dudes, their infantry guys. Getting an extra token each round is really nice. You're gonna appreciate that. and having the ability to stall with this action is nice as well. If you don't want to attack yet because you don't know what your opponent's going to do, but you've got no other options and you don't want to use up your tokens, you can save your orbital drop for the right time and stick some infantry down on a planet. That's a really cool tactic. Their flagship is really awesome for the 12 capacity. I think that's what it's really good for. The ability is whatever. Your strategy should be conquer as many planets and just stick as many dudes on them as you can. Really. You're probably not going to make that many friends. Your 4 commodities might be pretty lonely, sticking around on your sheet for quite a lot of the time. Wouldn't worry too much about it. If you're going to be conquering planets and getting resources from those planets, you're not going to need that many trade friends. Yeah, so, you know, expansionist imperial humans sounds pretty on the nose. They're pretty fun to play. They're probably one of the easier ones to win with, I think. They seem strong militarily. They don't have a lot of advantages for going towards technology or more obscure objectives, but you should be in a place where you can take Mechtal Rex and be able to score Imperial a whole bunch of times throughout the game. Yeah, that's the Federation Assault. Have some fun with them. Thanks for watching, and do come back for more Rulebreaker. Thanks a lot.